Day 49. I'm I was in mid meditation and I still have more to do, but something showed up in me that I wanted to share, and it was really the steps to releasing something. And once again, every single thing that I talk about is what I believed that day. So this is today's revelation, today's teaching. I'm sure that I will use it at times, but I might not mentally use it. I might actually have to really understand this is the how for people to go, how do you do it? I actually think today is about how to release things completely, how to release things that you think are you right now that aren't you anymore. So the first thing is you get in a bad mood. And ego likes to pin the bad mood on something outside of you. If you're sad or angry or think something should be a certain way, so be excited about when you're in a bad mood, because that's required for awakening. That's required for growth and letting go. And by awakening, I don't mean something condescending. I mean like really just releasing parts of you that you think are you. Because the first thing is something happens that you're mad about. So it might be what someone said about you. It might be whatever, that your ex is with someone else. It might be whatever it is. Now, most people's awareness is at a place where their happiness is if that thing changes. So my ex is with someone else, I need them back with me. Okay, you just changed your circumstance and you missed the opportunity to grow. If it triggers you, if you're mad, it just called out something in you. And your next step when you're feeling angry is to look into your own self and go, what is in me that thinks that this shouldn't be happening? And what is trying to emerge out of me? So Michael Beckwith says that question, right? What's trying to emerge out of me? So immediately what's trying to emerge out of you is the identification inside of you of what thinks that that thing shouldn't be happening. So for instance, if you think your ex shouldn't be with someone, maybe you have a story in your head that you're being abandoned by your mother or your father, or maybe it's all your childhood state that believes that you're not enough as is, that you need that person back. This is crazy because I really can walk through the whole thing. So when you feel angry about something and you're projecting it outward, the real challenging thing, the next step to the public's growth is the second they start to feel it outward, go, what inward is mad? What inward says this shouldn't be? Why? It's because you're not going to grow if you change your situation back to how you want it. You're just going to be the same control freak that says it should be that way. So the next step is to go, what in me feels that way? And that's where you sit and be patient and listen, because you're angry right now. And don't make it too specific, because if you're trying to find it, you won't be able to find it. If you're looking inward, just sit and notice you're mad and stay there. Stay there. Just stay there for a while. And you will start to identify something in you that says you're mad. That says you're mad because you think this thing is this way, because when you were a kid, it was the same feeling. So you're protecting yourself, because all of this, what really you're mad about is just something happened that you taught yourself you won't be loved if that thing happens, which really means you don't believe in that moment that you are love, that you believe you're limited to that one circumstance being that way. Meanwhile, you used to be happy before you even knew about that circumstance existing. So that's not even true. So the party that says you need your ex back, realize there was a time where you were happy before that. So you can actually identify, at least intellectually, before you've experienced it yet, that that's not true. But you know for a fact that's actually not true. So don't just sit in reaction to fixing that because you're living in a lie in the first place. So when you feel that, you sit there and you might identify something that says, I'm not enough. Now, the second you identify it, that says, I'm not enough if this person is this, or that my type of person should be this type of person, or that my job fired me, so I'm not loved, whatever it is, the second you identify it, don't try to remove it. Because once you identify it, it's now not a part of you anymore. Because before, it was a part of you because you didn't identify it. Once you see it, it's like picture seeing in your body, it looks like this, but then this net breaks off of the body, okay? Like that you were trapped in and didn't know it. But because you were identified with the net, it was a part of you. But now that you're separating and you're looking at the net, it's starting to break off, right? So once you identify it, watch as it breaks off. But let it break off when it wants to, because you can already trust that once you identify that that's the lie that you are living in, you will feel too aware and too crazy to keep living that way. So know that it will break off when it wants to. A lot of times when you feel that, you'll also feel sad because a thing that you were identified with for years, that you thought was a part of you since you were probably 5 years old, is now breaking off of you like an iceberg. And your sadness is that you're trying to hold on to it, that you're saying this shouldn't be breaking off, that you're saying, no, that's the story of me, and you can't decide which island you want to live on because you're not sure what's on the other side of the releasing of that iceberg of who you are. So the iceberg starts to float away, and you're just sitting here scared to surrender it because you've never experienced what's on the other side of it. So you don't have a coherent new place to step to. So it's going to keep being painful, and you're going to keep holding on to it. Let it be painful. Let it keep trying to come off, and it's painful because eventually the pain is going to get so overwhelming that it will finally be something that's not appealing to stand on anymore. And once the pain gets so overwhelming, you will be in a new place looking at this thing that's breaking off of you. And it will finally be this boulder on your chest that you're going to just become okay with it being there, and it will break off because now you're the okayness and the acceptance that allows it to free itself, and it will float away on its own. And once it breaks off, you'll feel comfortable and separated from it, and you'll feel better on this new plane that you won't chase it anymore, so you'll actually be fine letting go of it. And now you're in new territory, and then you start over again. Then you live life here, and you'll find something that makes you mad. Someone will do something that you're in a new circumstance that's pissing you off, but it's not that circumstance. It's something in you that you're under the illusion you're being abandoned or hurt, and you're in fight or flight mode again because of something out there reminding you of something in your childhood. And that's where you repeat the entire process. And you go, what in me is under this illusion? Oh, my dad said this, my mom said this, and that was a thing that triggered me. And then you'll keep being with it, and then you'll identify the lie. And then once you identify the lie, stay there, watch it float away, and watch the net break off of that lie. And you keep falling back, and your body keeps letting go of these things that it's not. So your body has been holding on to all of these lies and been identifying with all of these survival mechanisms and thinking that's who you are. And your job is to just allow it to float away. Now, this will make life in a short term a little more painful because there's all this resistance in the float away, but then freeing, you're free. Because the next day when that same circumstance happens, you won't feel that same pain anymore, ever again. You won't feel abandoned by your ex ever again once you deny the lie that you were in. You won't feel the loss of the job as something that you have to have. You won't feel your circumstance has to change. That circumstance won't have to change ever again. Once it breaks away, you're never owned by it again. Now think of how free life would be if you're not owned by things. If it owns you just once, just enough to discover in you what you're not. That's freedom. And that's the steps to releasing. Feel triggered by something. By the way, don't ever look for something to get triggered. Life will trigger you. You don't have to aim and create the trigger. Just when you feel stuck, triggered, angry, let it happen when it wants to. Otherwise, enjoy life if you're not triggered. When you feel stuck, mad about a circumstance, okay, boom, here's the big shift between the world, is if you feel that anger and go, what in me is under the illusion this circumstance shouldn't be that way. If you have the courage to look within and go, instead of reacting outward, going, what in me? While you're in that pain, that's the hardest thing. When you're in that pain, you really want to fight the thing out here. But if while you're in that pain, you ask, what in me is under the lie that this thing is supposed to be this way? And you sit and you wait for an answer. And you go, oh, that's because my dad said this, or I think this person is another ex that's before that really made me feel like I wasn't loved. Whatever it is, that thing floats away through your identification of it. So you look at the thing, it floats away. You don't try to push it away because that's saying that this thing's bigger than you. You're now broken away. The act of awareness of it causes it to be separate from you. And you just let it be painful like a big boulder on your chest. And it will leave when you fully accept it. But don't accept it so it will leave. It will just become more and more painful. And you just walk around with that pain for a while. And then it will leave forever. And then you'll have a new, deeper thing. But it will be rarer and rarer and rarer that you will feel that pain. And that's what I came up with in meditation. The steps to releasing.